I'm going to walk you through a full top speed training session with our professional football athletes. Let's get into it. Yo, what's going on, guys? Chris Warner here from Overtime Athletes. And for today's video, I'm going to walk you through and break down a full top speed or maximum velocity training session with the initial off-season prep phase for our professional football athletes. So it's beginning of off-season for football, and whether it's CFL, XFL, USFL, and NFL, a lot of the football guys are starting to trickle in. They're all pretty blended when it comes to their off season. And in the beginning of the off season, I want to take the opportunity to reestablish some of those patterns that they're performing in their top speed so that we can enhance that and have better quality repetition down the line. Now, in the prep phase, it might look like I'm training them as track athletes. I actually happen to work with a lot of skill position that reach top speeds on the field. And my whole goal here is to continuously make them more efficient in that top speed, so they will be drilling a lot of movements like they are on a track. Now, first and foremost, starting off, we get into our training session by elevating the lower limb. So they're going to be performing a series of lower limb pogos to really work that elastic qualities across the ankle and foot. Coming back, one important key is that we're always performing heel walks to be able to stimulate the anterior tibialis on the way back so that we're balancing across that lower limb. Now from here, I go again and progress and continue to prep them for more quality work by getting the hips and knee involved. So actually moving up that kinetic chain and then being able to prime and prep them through a little bit more aggressive work. So you can see we do some single leg hops and then some power skips for both vertical force and horizontal force. And then we're also going to perform some straight leg bounds where we're focused on really pulling and clawing the turf with that glute to be able to prime them up for more quality movement. Now, immediately after they've done their prep work, we're going to get right into our neural work. And this is all about firing up the nervous system through the hips. So my whole goal here is not only to train a specific pattern, but to really turn on the muscles for the more quality work down the line. So they're going to perform some really basic piston runs, high knee butt kick runs, and some step over runs that not only reinforcing that pattern, but again, firing up that nervous system. So I tell the athletes, short distance, 1,000 reps in 5 yards. I want rapid fire, light feet on the ground, and really focused on working through the hips. That means lifting with the hip and putting back down with the hips. Now, after we've elevated and really fired up the nervous system for the movements and the muscles that we're going to utilize, we're then going to go back to drilling a little bit more of those plyos. So we're going to start off with a basic A skip, really working that cross extensor reflex, syncing up that hand with the opposite thigh popping and that hip extension on the other side. From here, we're going to then move to power A skip, where we work through hip hyperextension while the other thigh is popping, really working through creating that separation of the hips and being able to sync up the entire body. From here, we're going to progress to a B skip. Now, the way that I really want to train the B skip is being able to teach an athlete that when that hamstring is contracted through the recovery into the drive phase, we're focused on releasing the hamstring or relaxing as opposed to contracting the hamstring when they're getting into their next cycle. All right, so it's a very specific way that we drill that. I think it's extremely important for athletes to understand why they're doing the B skip and not just kicking their leg out or trying to mimic a pattern, really understanding why they're doing what they're doing. Now from here, we go into a power B, where again, we work a little bit more hip hyperextension. This is one of the more advanced drills that we introduce. These guys have been with me for a while. Some of it can look not as polished, and some of them look polished, but it's the beginning of the off season. And then finally, once they perform these drills, we always have a level of integration. This is where we want to put all those drills back together. And the way I coach the athletes is I say, hey, now is not the time to be focused or in your head about how you're running. Top speed, maximum velocity is a reaction. So you want to allow all those patterns that we just drilled over and over again to take over when you go to run top speed. So we're gonna run a series of build-up sprints here where the athlete's going to build up to that top speed, really getting from an upright position and focus on the cycling of the ground. I love to paint a picture for my athletes here. Think about acceleration that you're beating up the ground. You're actually attacking the ground. Now when it comes to top speed, I tell athletes, imagine that you're running on water. So instead of actually trying to pound the ground, it's more of a reaction, cyclical motion across the ground. So when the athletes think about that, they're a little bit lighter on their feet. They're actually able to obtain those drills that we just focused on working. So there you have it, guys. Wanted to walk you through a full top speed training session. Beginning initial phases, we're not adding anything too cute or too fancy. We're reestablishing a lot of the sequence that we've been working and continuing to work and hammering a certain level of patterns. Hey, if you're interested in a full speed program, go ahead and check out down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.